Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, let's talk about something that is just super frustrating. You get all geared up for arbitration, and the debt collector completely ghosts you. Well, don't worry. I'm going to show you exactly how to flip that script and turn their no-show into a huge win for you. All right, so picture this. You've done everything by the book. You've started the process to get this debt dispute handled, you're ready to go, and then crickets. The debt collector is a no-show. You're probably thinking, great, now what? It feels like a total dead end, doesn't it? But trust me, this is actually where things get interesting. So here's the deal. When that collector pulls a disappearing act, it's not a setback. Nope. It's actually a massive clue. It's a piece of the puzzle that you can use to put the squeeze on not just them, but the original company that hired them in the first place. And that right there, that's what we call leverage. Their absence is basically a giant red flag. It tells you they might be trying to dodge something, and that's a weakness. A weakness you can totally exploit to pull the original creditor, the company you had the actual deal with, right back into this whole mess. Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we connect the dots? Well, we use this awesome legal tool, kind of like a secret weapon, called Vicarious Liability. Seriously, this is the key. It's what unlocks this whole strategy and gives you the power to hold that original creditor responsible. And don't let the fancy legal name fool you. The idea is actually super simple. Just think about it this way. If you work at a coffee shop and you mess up an order, who's ultimately responsible? The owner, right? The boss? Same idea here. If that debt collector is acting as an agent for the original creditor, then guess what? The creditor can be held responsible for what their agent does, or in this case, doesn't do. Now here's where it gets a little tricky, but it's so important. It all comes down to whether the debt was assigned or sold. If it was assigned, that means the collector is basically just working for the original creditor. The creditor is still the boss, and they're on the hook. Now, if it was sold, the original creditor should be out of the picture, but, and this is a big but, we see it all the time, because of sloppy paperwork or weird credit reporting, they're still tangled up in it. And that's our opening. All right, so how do you prove all this? How do you build a rock-solid case? It is all about the paper trail. Seriously, the documents are your superpower here. You need to gather everything you can to highlight every single inconsistency you can find. And it's pretty straightforward, really, just 3 key steps. First, you need that original contract you had with the creditor. Second, and this is huge, pull your credit reports from all 3 bureaus. Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, get them all. And third, round up every piece of communication you have, every email, every letter, every note from every phone call with both of them. This pile of paper, this is your arsenal. Okay, now this is where the fun really starts. You're going to comb through that credit report. And what are you looking for? Inconsistencies. Like, does the original creditor's entry say you have a 0 balance? Maybe it's marked sold or transferred. But then you look at the debt collector's entry and they're reporting you owe the full amount? Boom. That is a flat-out contradiction. That's inaccurate reporting, plain and simple. And that is a legal violation that gives you a ton of leverage. So, once you've got your evidence, it's time to go on the offensive. And we're not just going to poke them from one side. We're launching a 2-front attack. The whole point here is to maximize the pressure. We're going to hit them from 2 different angles at the same time, forcing both the credit bureaus and the original creditor to sit up and pay attention. Okay, front number 1. This is all about the credit bureaus. You're going to file a formal dispute, pointing out every single inaccuracy you found, like those conflicting balances we just talked about. Thanks to a law called the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or FCRA, they can't just ignore you. They are legally required to launch an investigation and ask both the collector and the creditor to prove the information is accurate. All right, now for front number 2. This is where we bring our secret weapon, vicarious liability, into the fight. When you file your complaint or your arbitration claim, you don't just name the debt collector, no way. You name the original creditor right alongside them, and you spell it out for them. Because the collector is your agent, you, the original creditor, are responsible for them ghosting the arbitration and for all this inaccurate reporting. And hey, here's a little bonus tip for you. You'll want to check your local state laws, because some states give you even more firepower. Places like California, Texas, and Florida, they have their own powerful consumer protection laws that can make it even easier to hold original creditors accountable. A quick Google search for your state could seriously boost your case. Okay, so you've launched your 2-front attack. Now what? The game from here on out is all about one thing: persistence. You cannot take your foot off the gas. The whole idea is to keep applying pressure, stay on the offensive, and make them so uncomfortable that they have no choice but to deal with you and fix the problem.
So, what does that look like in practice? Well, first off, you got to stay organized. You need to be checking your credit reports constantly. Look for any changes, any new inaccuracies. You have to follow up with the credit bureaus about your dispute. Don't let them forget about you. And, you guessed it, document everything. Every single phone call, every email, every new piece of inaccurate data. It's all more ammunition for you.
It all comes down to this, really. The key, the absolute key, is to document every single inconsistency. Because when you do that, you create so much pressure on both the debt collector and the original creditor. You're taking their sloppiness, their mistakes, their no-show, and you're turning it all into your greatest weapon.
So you see, when a debt collector ghosts you, that is not the end of the road. Not even close. It's actually the beginning of a whole new strategy, one where you're the one calling the shots. So the only question left is, are you ready to take that power and make them both answer for it?